Hi guys. So lately I've been feeling like I spend a lot of money on disposable paper products like paper towels and disinfecting wipes, and I always look for the cheapest bargains that I can find, but still I feel it's kind of wasteful. So I started looking around Amazon to see if there was any alternatives, and there's tons of alternatives. So if you weren't a sewer, there's lots of options that would certainly save you money in the long run. But since I am a sewer, I decided rather than paying somebody to do the sewing for me, that I would find some low-cost options. And you could certainly look around Amazon if you need some inspiration. Lots of ideas to get your creative juices flowing if you're a crafty or sewing person. So I went on eBay and I purchased a total of 2 yards of fabric. I was looking for the lowest cost options that I could find. And I found one for about $4.33, another for $5. And of course you're still paying for shipping, but definitely looking for the lowest cost quality options that I could find. And I wanted a pattern on one side and a solid color on the other. And I found these adorable little peas in their pods. I thought that would be kind of appropriate for a kitchen kind of theme. So I cut up both of the yards of fabric. And initially I didn't even measure them. I just cut 2 yards in half and then cut them again. I just started cutting them half and half and half until I got to a size that I thought would be really good. So when all was said and done, at the end each of the pieces came out to about 7.5 inches by 9.5 inches. And I'm using these little plastic clips to kind of hold the material in place while I'm sewing them. If you've watched this channel before, you know I'm a big fan of the little plastic clips. As soon as I started using them, I thought, wow, what a time saver. And you don't have to pierce your fabric, and you can just move them around. They just make hand sewing just so much easier. So I'm not doing any measuring. What I'm doing is just folding them down, kind of as little as I can, just enough so they are folded and I can do some hand sewing. So this project is just for my own personal use. I think if I were actually selling them, I would be a lot more specific and I would be doing some measuring. So. But because they're for me and I know they're just something I'm going to use for cleaning up around the kitchen, they don't have to be perfect. So I'm just folding them down enough to start the hand sewing. And I'm just folding down 2 ends of the material just to kind of get them started. And I'm leaving about 1 inch room. So I can fold it down on the other side when I'm done and create a nice square. And this is definitely a project if you're using flannel material like I am. Definitely get out your thimble or whatever you do to save your delicate fingertips while you're sewing. I noticed I could do a couple of these towels without my fingers hurting, but after about 2, my fingers really started to ache a little bit. So definitely take the easy route and just put on your thimble. If it's not something that you always use, you will thank yourself later. And the stitch that I'm using is just a really basic stitch, just looping it around the materials, trying to create the smallest stitch that I could find. But I did want to make the stitch a little bit visible. I thought that would make kind of an interesting little homemade accent to the towels. So the green kind of sticks out a little bit. If I were trying to make it invisible, I would have used like an off-white kind of thread, but I thought the green just made it kind of an interesting accent to the kind of home sewn kind of project. So completely up to you if you want to make it, something that's visible or invisible. But that's why I chose that green color. All right, so I've got the two sides already sewn up, and now I'm going to sew up the other ends. So I'm using the same process as before, just folding down the material just so slightly. And one thing I noticed, the flannel material really stays in place, so it makes it really easy. If you're a beginner sewer, this is going to be a really easy project for you to start with. There are some materials where you fold it down just slightly and then immediately it just starts moving underneath your fingers, like a silk or a rayon. So this is definitely a good project if you're a beginner sewer. It's just going to be a lot easier for you to kind of teach your fingers how to fold down material. Flannel is just a very forgiving and easy kind of material to work with. And it is so soft. I noticed when I was using the flannel material for cleaning up, I've got one of those stoves that doesn't have the old coils on the top. It's just a completely smooth surface, and it just makes cleanup really easy. And it doesn't feel like it scratches the stove at all. So I really like that element of using the flannel for cleanups on the stove. All right, so now that all of your clips are in place, I'm just going to do the same thing as before, just using that green thread just to make some tiny little stitches. And these corners where you're sewing, this is where your fingers are really going to begin to hurt if you're not using a thimble. I love working with this material, the flannel, just really easy to sew with. But when you're running your your needle through like 4 layers that are all folded together, that's when you might ache a little bit on your fingertips. So definitely get out your thimble, and your fingers will thank you. I usually don't use a thimble. I find it kind of cumbersome, and I'm just not used to it, so it's kind of clunky for me. As you can see, I'm struggling a little bit trying to get my needle and thread to behave while I'm using my thimble. right, so here is the finished towel. Definitely not perfect, not entirely square, but I like how it turned out. It's a really useful towel. Definitely has that homemade kind of feel. Not perfect, but my stove and me are the only ones that are gonna see it. So very useful project. And here is 16 of the towels that are all done. So for the price, pretty good deal, and I will definitely make another set of these. Thank you everybody for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I hope you have a great day.